Plug yourself into the machine.
Hey folks, welcome back to Floyd's Vintage Guitars. Well, today's a weird one for me because I've actually never really played or tried Mesa Boogie amps before. And recently I got my hands on I was very lucky to find a Mesa Boogie that Carlos Santana himself used on tour while he was in South Africa. And that was a Mark III. And that was a beautiful, beautiful amp, I have to say. And then I decided to take it up a notch. And I got a triple rectifier, and the next video I'm going to make is going to be on that bad boy in the back there, which is a dual rectifier. And here's the thing. I always pictured Mesa Boogies being great for metal. I don't know why. I know it's a bit of a weird thing to say after I've just admitted I've never really played a Mesa before, certainly not for any extended length of time. But here I am, and here's the amazing thing. It's blown me away. And let me tell you why. I know I say this every amp, I know. But guys, keep in mind, every amp I buy it because they blow me away when I try them out, or, you know. So, when I got this amp, I was expecting your typical metal kind of hard rock tones to be coming out of there and ruling the roost when it comes to those kind of tones. But can I be honest? Yes, that amp does those sounds. Of course it does. It's a Mesa Boogie Triple Rectifier. But what's really blown me away is the clean sound. The clean sound on this amp, like the Mark III that I played before, there seems to almost be like a compressor built into the amp, which allows you to dial in compression. I'm not saying there is compression, it's not sounding compressed, please don't get me wrong. But the effect it gives me, the way it makes me feel, is that I can dial in sustain. Now that's a very rare thing. On a Fender amp, to get sustain on a clean sound, you need to turn it up to like 7, 8, and you're starting to get a bit of sustain. On a Marshall, depending on the model of course, but on the JMPs that I own, you need to turn them up to at least 4 or 5, and you start getting that kind of sustain in your clean sound where you can hold a note for a while, and without distortion or overdrive, and it's there. It holds, great for blues, great for rock, great for soloing, great for rhythm. But on this thing, I can dial and sustain that'll last 10 times longer than those other amps. I'm really struggling to talk today. So I now, after playing 2 beautiful Mesa Boogie amps, I am absolutely sold on these amps. I get it, you know. They are very modern. They are more knobs and digits and gadgets at the back of that amp, and in front, by the way, than I've ever seen on any amp in my life before. It's like a NASA space station back there. And it looks awesome in front too, with all the, I mean, there's 3 channels. It's insane, right? And yet everything has its function. Everything changes, every button, every switch changes the tone completely. When you turn on the bass on this amp, it's a wall of bass. When you turn on the treble or the mids, it's a wall of treble. It's a wall of mids. You don't get that on your Marshalls. You certainly don't get that on some of your Fender amps. You can go from 0 to 8 on a Fender amp, and yes, you're getting a bit more bottom end, but it stops at a point and it just starts distorting, kind of thing. You know what I mean? On this, it's like you're adding in an invisible bass player behind you when you turn up the bass. The bass just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger till you can't hear anything else except bass. That's a first for me. That really is. So yes, guys, Mesa Boogies, I'm blown away. I have to say, I can't wait to do my next video on the dual behind me and see how that differs, because it's a much simpler amp. It doesn't have as many switches and options. But yes, I'm really, really looking forward to playing it. And as someone who's always kind of dedicated my playing to it, the simpler the amp, the better. That's because I've got a pedal board. I've got distortion on my pedal board. I've got echo, I've got reverb. That's where those effects come from for me. I prefer it that way, I always have. But on an amp like that, honestly, you could go with a reverb pedal and a delay. Everything else is there if you need it. From screaming solo sounds to crunch sounds to the cleanest, most beautiful cleans I've ever heard in my life. So yes, guys, Mesa Boogie, huge thumbs up from me, and I certainly now get it. It's in conclusion, a Marshall is a kind of a one-trick pony, but what it does very, very well. It's not really a one-trick pony. You can do anything on a Marshall. A Fender to me is more of a one-trick pony. A Vox is beautiful in its own way, and it's certainly not a one-trick pony. But this amp, it's an every-trick pony. The switch that comes with it, the foot switch, is like this big and that wide. It's just, it's endless. It's beautiful. It's so well made, and I'm blown away. I'm blown away. So see you next time, guys. Like you probably know by now, it's going to be on the dual rectifier or the Roadster or whatever it is, and we'll see you at the next one. Cheers.
Plug yourself into the machine. Become one. Become Apple's new icon. DNA straight to the screen.